Hey guys, this is Grace and welcome to September. I can't believe that we're already in September, and that means that we're nearing the end of this year. I can't believe it. But anyways, thank you so much for dropping by. This is my layout for the monthly celebrations for this month. So with September, there's a few birthdays that we're celebrating, and then a few other things. But I don't have photos ready for those kinds of events. But what I do have photos of is some pictures of me and my family just going target shooting, and it somehow falls. Well, I've kind of noticed that over a couple of years or so, or maybe even 3 or 4 years, that it has fallen on a September date, and I think it's because Labor Day. But anyways, I do remember that these pictures were taken on Labor Day a few years back. So I'm gonna call this as an event that we celebrate in the month of September. I have a ton of photos, and these are all 3x4s. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 22 photos. Not sure if all of these will be able to get into my layout, but we will see. And then I'm just going to also show you some of the things that I had planned on using for this layout. I do have some inspirations that I pulled out onto my that I had saved on my Pinterest board. And if you're ever interested in what I had pinned or where my ideas are coming from with these specific layouts, then you make sure that you check out the description below, because it will have a link to my Pinterest board where I save all of my ideas. So I will be making a double page layout, that is for sure, because I have a lot of photos. And I'm thinking, I found this one sketch from Creating Keepsakes a while back, that they have photos all around bordering the 2-page layout. So I might do that just because I have a lot of photos. So I'm going to go and trim out all of my photos into maybe squares and then put them alongside my layout, because I've done that before, but it's been a long time since I've done it. So I'm going to see if I will like that design. I also pulled out some stickers from my stash just because I have them. And this one is just basically very generic words like "I love this," "Our day," "Today's precious," and then I also have the stickers. It's more dimensional stickers. "You are here," "This week," "Smile." So maybe I can use up all these stickers, maybe not. We will see. As far as the papers, I'm going for more outdoorsy color scheme. So I'm going with browns and like dark green and things like that. So I found this dot paper from my stash. These are all full 12x12 pieces, so I'm hoping that I will be able to use up some of those papers that have just been sitting, because I also like to use up my scraps, but sometimes I forget that I have full sheets to play with as well. So dot paper, and then it also has the brown, so I might use the other side as well. I pulled this one out because I like the grungy look of the stripes, and I love stripes to add to my layout, especially as borders. That's kind of like my go-to is dots, stripes, and plaids. Like that's like my go-to papers, or sometimes florals, but I always go with dots and stripes. And then I have this one. I like the colors of the florals over here. It's not too big. And I also have orange. I was wearing an orange shirt, and then my son as well, so I'm thinking that I can incorporate that here. And the back side is just lined paper. And then this one, I'm kind of going with the green vibe. I know it's not full green, but I like that the age look, and then it has that. I probably won't use this side. And then I have this. Now I like this because of the color. It reminds me of the color of the sky. It's not totally blue, but I like this color. And the back side of it is this green, so we'll see which one I go for, but I really like this. It's just plain. It'll be good for matting. And then I have this paper that reminded me of the targets that we used, because it has all these circles, so I might incorporate that. I might also incorporate these papers as layered circles, just because I like the target idea. So that's what I'm going to do. And then this last one has these leaves that kind of remind me of fall, and then on the other side it's just this green. So those are the papers or the products that I plan on using for this particular layout, and then watch some more as you see me create the whole page.
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to be doing for this layout is to trim my photos. I have a nested square die from Spellbinders that I got at a scrapbook expo, and I'm going to use, I think the size is a little less than 3-inch square, and so that's what I'm going to be using to crop my photos. I found that this was the easiest way for me since I had a ton of photos. Of course, if I only had like 4 or 5, I would have just made my own square. But because I have more than 20, I will be using the square. So basically that's what I did. And then I didn't have a die. The next big die would have had a very large frame around my photo. And so I just decided that with that one, I will go ahead and cut them into squares. So I believe my photos were like 2 3/4 or maybe 2.5, and so I just used my paper trimmer and cut some pattern paper to make a 2 3/4 inch frame, or matting I should say. And so now I'm kind of moving things around and seeing where I could put all that. Now, initially, I kind of wanted to sprinkle some pattern papers on the top and the bottom, but because I had matted my photos, I didn't have enough room to put the other pattern papers on the top. So the pattern paper squares will just mainly be on the sides of the paper. And I also trimmed that stripe paper, and that will be my kind of border. And then I needed to have something on the inside. Like I said, I have been using a lot of my pattern papers just because they have been accumulating. And so this layout kind of shows that how I go about that, how I incorporate a lot more pattern or a lot more paper rather than just white onto my layout. And I find that just combining some of the B side, which is usually the solid colored ones, helps me to incorporate more more pattern paper on my layout. And so I have these 6 vertical 3x4 photos, and I really wanted to use all of them. Unfortunately, I just didn't have enough room because I wanted to have some room there to be able to put my title and also a target. And so I had to get rid of 2 photos, and so that will just be okay. And I believe I do trim the 4 photos as well. Excuse me, so that I will be able to fit my target a little bit better. And then because the 3x4s are a little bit smaller than my blue background, I decided to add this pattern paper on the bottom to create kind of a border. And so there's just a little bit of like measuring and cutting pieces here and there, but I love how this turned out because I was able to use a lot of pattern papers without making it busy. So you might, I'm not promising it, but you might see me do a lot more of that matting with pattern paper in my pages to come, just because I like the idea of using up my papers that way, and then also because it creates a little bit more color and design on the back of my photos. Okay, so now I'm still figuring out what I wanted to do with as far as making my target. Initially, I had wanted to use pattern papers, but there was just so many patterns. Now that I've added all of these borders and blocks, so I just decided to use some cardstock, and I have this nested die from My Favorite Things, which is my favorite circle die. And then I created so basically I used every other die, not the one that's right next to each other, because then that will just create a 1/4 inch difference. And so I just used every other die so that I would create a 1/2 inch between each circle. And I just used some red, some black and white, and then on the very center it's red. I used the target picture on our photos as my actual kind of inspiration to go by when it comes to making my target. And I did create the lines using just a marker that I have. And then these are just stickers that I got from Tuesday morning. And then I'm going to spell out target shooting with that. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but the circle that I added actually made the two layouts come together, so they're adhered together. And I'm gonna just cut that up or trim that up so that I can divide or separate the two layouts a little bit later. So I'm going to be continuing to spell my title, and apparently I'm not spelling it right because it's hard for me to spell it backwards, but now I got it right. And so that's what I'm going to be doing here. Now you won't see me do this, but I will type up my journaling, and that brown card pattern paper that you see on the top left, or top right rather, that will be where I will house my journaling. And I'm just going to cut them into strips and adhere that onto there. So now my goal is to use up all of the stickers from these two sticker sheets, and I will not be quite successful. I think I ended up with a couple, but I actually ended up tossing the whole sticker sheet because I have a lot, so it didn't really bother me that I only had 2 left on that one. But anyways, I will decorate this with a little bit more of the stickers, and that will do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And also make sure that you check out the description below, because it will have the links to the other ladies that are participating in the hop. Make sure that you check out their videos, because I check it out every month, and I'm always inspired and I always learn something new. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys another day. Bye!